Hello, my name is Marjukka Niinioja, and I'm going to talk to you about business-oriented API products with APIOps Cycles Method. A little bit about me. I'm the founding partner at Osaango, and we're doing consulting and coaching and training in APIs and API business models, anything that basically helps you realize your business goals with APIs. And we work globally together with some colleagues from our and other companies as the API Collective. Now, one thing before we jump into API products and APIOps Cycles Method is that what are we actually trying to achieve? So many times our customers and other people using the APIOps Cycles Method are actually having two sets of goals. So either they want to straight go to the growing business profitably goal and developing ecosystems, offering API products externally to their customers and partners, or building them kind of more for an internal purpose of having their own online and hybrid sales channels and monetizing APIs and data in indirect ways instead of directly selling them to their customers and partners. Now, that might be good, and you might start from there, and you might use the methods I'm going to show you for that purpose. But your goal could just be, simply put, it could be that you want to improve your API and data quality or reuse, or you want to grow and scale up your operations with APIs. And you might need to look into your development speed and quality. Like, are we building the right APIs? Are we building the right APIs in the right way? And many times that needs a little bit help on the operating model, on the roles, processes, ways of working around APIs and data. And it might need some collaboration together with these different stakeholders and different people with different backgrounds and education who don't really speak the same language. So in order to actually achieve both the technical goals and the business goals and the organizational modernization, you actually have to use methods to work with APIs that actually help those people that need to be involved talk to each other and really understand how to innovate with APIs and leverage new technologies. Now, one reason that originally I was developing those methods and have seen them used in different places in the world and different organizations was that there needed to be this kind of marketing and development synergy in developing APIs. So you might look at this map and think about what does this have to do with APIs, but actually this map shows the situation 2017 according to Programmable Web, where APIs were, and then this research was also pointed out how they were being used in different companies and organizations and how they were actually related and correlating to the revenue made by the company. So what they found out that APIs, the amount of APIs correlate with global startup index and economic growth areas. And that APIs thrive in cultures where user-centered design is dominant, and that you need to have actually this kind of co-location and similar mindset with marketers, aka anybody who is developing business and the marketing, and developers, aka anybody who's kind of technically involved with the APIs. And those two stakeholder groups should be able to co-create. So they should actually be able to understand each other. Now, APIs can, of course, be used in many different ways. So they can be used just as a means for integration, or they can be used as generally API products internally or externally for ecosystem and platform orientation. So you can actually distribute work, distribute resources between teams and organizations with APIs if they are made as products, if they are productized, so to speak, if they are packaged in the right way so that it's clear what value they bring and they're easy to use. Now, this goes to your API strategy or your strategy to use APIs in your business. And in many cases, that should tie with your product management strategy. If you are developing any kind of products in your organization, or if you are developing API products. Of course, your products might be more services, or they might be, for example, SaaS kind of services. So it's a little bit of flexible thing, but anyway, you have to have some sort of a product management strategy if you're going to have APIs as products. And that is depending on what is the pace of the business and industry, what is the kind of goal there. Do you want to have cost savings or revenue generation? Do you want to kind of reuse the resources that you have in a more better way? And how much room do you have between regulation versus innovation? What are you technically capable of doing, and what are your API consumers technically able to consume? So just wanted to say, when we were writing the API Economy 101 book in 2018 and 19, there was a lot of talk at that time about APIs and products. APIs as products were starting to be a thing for the API experts around that time, but there was just a problem. APIs can be, of course, in a lot of different ways tied to your actual products and services that you are delivering to your customers. And APIs can be, as API products, tied together with those real world products and services, or those more tangible products and services. And here's just a list of few things that they could be, at least the ones that we identified at that time. Now, then the question becomes, what is the way to actually design API products collaboratively? So why collaboratively? Well, because we need those designers and those business people, those sales, the partner management, marketers, as said, according to also that one research, but there are many others. And we need, of course, the technical experts, but also different kinds of technical experts. We need security, we need privacy, we need software, we need network and other kinds of technology experts to be involved in the API design or the modeling of the way that we are going to use APIs. One might call it also API strategy if we are planning a big picture of how we are going to use APIs. Now, there are, of course, tools and ways of designing architecture, and those are very good for exactly that, designing architecture. But if you're designing a user interface, for example, or you're doing service design or product design, you have a set of tools, set of technologies, set of vocabulary that the professionals related to those professions, those methods, are going to use. And they are going to think that it's strange if somebody says that you need to use something else than the methods that they are used to using. Now, how do you then get all those professionals to actually work with APIs? Because most of them don't know what APIs are, or are not aware of what you could actually do with APIs. Even the people, the software professionals, are not always aware of the business side of APIs, or where those APIs are actually going to be used. So that's why APF Cycles Method was born a few years back, when I was working in a bigger consultancy than now, but we were establishing that consultancy's API capabilities and strategy. And we found out that based on, for example, my experience and some of the other people's experience, that there needed to be a method, like a single method of how companies were approaching their API design. And the method needed to be openly licensed for everybody to be able to use it, because in all companies, there are probably dozen or more companies or experts for different companies collaborating typically with the APIs. And there are lots of different teams, lots of different technologies, so it also needed to be technology agnostic. So the APF Cycles Method was born, and it tries to promote collaboration, easy, fast methods, things that people already know, but also it takes things from lean and DevOps so that it's a cyclic method that you can always continuously improve how you're doing your APIs. So you can start with a kind of more strategic and greenfield approach, but then you can improve and collaborate on the existing APIs to make them better. Now, APF Cycles users are all over the world. So you can see some of them in the map from 2022. And now we'll go quickly on the actual thing of how you are supposed to design those business-oriented API products with the APIOps Cycles method. So here is a very, very ugly slide. I'm sorry about that. It tries to put everything together in terms of starting from an ecosystem customer's journey. So ecosystem customer is important here because your APIs that your team, your organization is providing could be just a subset of APIs that are needed to fulfill a full customer journey, crossing those different organizations and different teams. But also when you are using APIs, when you're consuming APIs, you might need to kind of pick and choose different APIs from different providers, different companies, and you might need to combine them to form up a very nice customer journey that automates a lot of things for the customer and also makes it really simple for them to use or fulfill their need, and almost takes away the need to use any system. So they don't actually feel that they're using a system. Everything just happens automatically or almost automatically. Now, with customer journey design, you always have these things that make the customer journey really, really good in different touch points or really bad. So those are typically called gains and pains. They could be called a few different things, but in this case, we're calling them gains and pains. So things that are really good, things that are kind of maybe worrying the customer a little bit, that we need to try to remove. And then, of course, you would need to also include the developer gains and pains to this with those canvases that I'm going to show in a moment, so that you can then come up with the ideal APIs and API features that would actually provide those needed features for those touch points, so that they actually provide both developer and the end consumers the gains that they hope to have and remove the pains that they are worried about. Now, how the model is or the method is kind of built up, it starts with a set of canvases. So first there's a business model canvas and actually a value proposition canvas that you should really start with. And that can expose a lot of APIs that you then take one by one to the business model canvas. And then you actually use these tools because they are used by those business developers and designers anyway. So they are relatively simple for them to understand, even though architects and a little bit more technical people might need to actually learn a little bit new things. But then the next set of canvases are about non-functional requirements, so security, availability, privacy, and capacity, and actually network locations. So it's an interesting thing when you design an architecture that you have to, for regulation, but also for latency and other technical reasons, you have to know where your data can be mastered, where it's stored, where it's transferred, where are your API consumers, where are your API providers, where are your backend systems, for example. And then it goes on to different stages. So I have just grouped them here to fit them on one slide, but it's a cyclic method. So you go from step 1 to step 8, and you should have all your API needs met in a nice way. So first, from those canvases that I showed, thinking of the developer experience next. So there are some pointers that you should, and KPIs that you should probably try to meet with your APIs. And then towards the minimal viable API architecture, where we have those non-functional requirements, but also the functional kind of request response or asynchronous way of handling the APIs. And then you can audit your API designs and your existing APIs in different stages. You build them, you publish them, you monitor, measure, and analyze them, and then you learn and improve. So it's that, well, easy. And if you are finding this in any way useful, you can also go to our Osaango Academy, have some simple learning from there in the form of a 2-hour course, or just go to the method page and try to handle it yourself. But we also have some services and learning courses that we can provide to help your organization to leverage these methods and other ways of working with APIs innovatively. So thank you, and let's stay in touch.